I'm Bronson.
And I'm Jeff.
We're with Wreck Gear, and this is our rear steer buggy. A wrecked rides breakdown on a rig has been one of the most requested videos for us to make, and we are long overdue, so let's get right into it. This rig started off life as a 2007 Twisted Customs drag axle car, and has changed hands a few times before ending up in the hands of Wreck Gear. The majority of the changes started with the owner before the one that I bought it from, and they put in a rear steer, Atlas transfer case, and a junkyard LS. The biggest changes were from a good friend that I bought it from, and they had bent fab, update the chassis, and put in the Spider Track 40 spline axles. As for us, we put in a brand new cammed 400 horsepower in it last season because we smoked the old junkyard LS. We've torn it down a few times for freshen ups, rebuilt a lot of the major components, and giving it a fresh new JL look with the Jimmy's 4x4 Fiberworks hood and our polycarbonate panels cut by us. Under the hood, we have a Chevy 5.3 with a mild cam. Other than that, it's pretty much stock, except for a few bolt-on accessory parts, the most important being the trapdoor baffle oil pan, which traps oil around the pickup tube to keep oil pressure while on vertical obstacles. This is not the lightest motor setup by far, but for trail wheeling, it's extremely reliable, has great power, and makes getting to the trail fun and fast. Behind the motor, we have a built turbo 350 trans, and that connects to a 2-speed Atlas with a 3.8 to 1 gear ratio. The belly of this rig has a thick slab of aux plate similar to AR500 plate, protecting the buggy's vitals, and the transfer case and axles are tied together by some overly built drive lines from the machine shop out of Chino Valley, Arizona. Front and rear have Gearworks high pinion 10-inch third members, and they're some of the strongest in the game. The thirds are stuffed in some Spider Track axle housings and filled with Spider Track 40 spline axle shafts. The axles are pretty much Spider Track from hub to hub. Both axles are steer axles, so the rear one steers just like the front. U-joints are some beefy CTMs. Both axles have 50 degrees of steering angle. Each axle has a PSE double-ended hydraulic ram to steer and power these massive tires. The wheels are 20-inch trail-ready beadlocks that obviously take a good beating, and are wrapped in 42-inch BFG crawler red label stickies for maximum traction. For suspension, we've got ORIs on all 4 corners. The fronts are 16-inch and the rears are 18-inch. Let's take a look at what we got going on the back half of the buggy. First off, I've got a 15-gallon fuel tank that has a lower pickup, so that way it keeps the fuel coming when we're on those big vert obstacles. Also, we've got 4 or 5 soft shackles because there is no such thing as too many soft shackles. We have a kinetic recovery rope tucked up on the roll bar, held by a Blackfish Fabrication quick release rope holder. The orange hose is for an ARB pump that's tucked behind the driver's seat, and behind the passenger seat, we have a tiny but powerful Odyssey battery that keeps all the wires juiced up. Rock lights, headlights, and light bar are all KC HiLites. Front and rear Warren winches used for axle suck down and recoveries. Then we have a Sackett Wreck Gear bag for picking up trash. Welcome to the cockpit. This chassis is only 48 inches wide, and that leaves only room for the things that you need and nothing that you don't. Seats are made by PRP. The dash, floorboard, and firewall are all aluminum. Dash only has 6 switches, 4 gauges, an ignition, and a push-button start. Down between the seats, we have the Atlas shifters, trans shifter, and that little guy is the rear steer control. Last but not least, the wheelbase on this rig is 113 inches. Outside to outside tire is 85 inches, and it has an 18.5-inch belly height. Now that you know exactly what the Wreck Gear rear steer is working with, let's check it out, doing work on the trail. Sponsored in part by BFGoodrich Tires, OnTrail Off-Road Mapping, HiLites, and AXEL Off-Road Helmets. Best way to support this channel is to give that subscribe button a little skiddly-doo, diddle that notification bell, give this video the fat finger, and leave a dirty little comment down below.